There's nothing better than throwing on your comfiest pair of sweatpants, grabbing a bowl of popcorn and putting on a scary movie, but what about after you've overindulged in your biggest fears? It makes walking to your room, turning off your lights and closing your eyes seem like a dangerous task. Every bump in the night haunts you and makes you wish you thought twice before turning on a horror film. So here are the top 5 scary horror movies you need to pray before watching. But before we begin, I'm joined by a very special guest, Joss from Sassy, aka Sassy. Sass.
AKA the Sassy.
The Sassy, Joss Sassy.
Yeah.
Do you want me to call you Sassy?
In this video, yes. In life, yes.
Oh.
What's going on, guys? I'm so excited to be here. I am Joss Bedard, also known as Sassy. Come check out my brand new channel called Sassy. It's a lot of fun. I keep it just a little bit classy, but super sassy. So if you're into that, come check me out.
It's a lot funnier than this channel, so if you need some pick-me-up, head there after this. It'll be linked in the description. Okay, let's jump in. Kicking off at number 5 is The Blair Witch Project, the 1999 supernatural horror film that made me never want to go into the woods again. This found footage style film had audiences captivated when it premiered, largely because people thought it was genuinely real, including me. Its marketing campaign was morally questionable but brilliant, leading people to think that the movie's main characters were missing or even dead. They even went as far as having missing persons posters featuring the actors at screenings. This low-budget documentary-style horror movie follows film students Heather, Mike, and Josh as they head out into the woods in search of the fabled Blair Witch. The 3 friends find themselves at the center of strange occurrences. They seem to be lost and walking in circles, unable to find the road or their car. Horrific noises come from the woods, their stuff is being messed with, ritualistic items keep popping up, and paranormal happenings are running wild. 1 year later, they're still missing, and only this raw footage is found. The film preys on our most basic fears, not needing any fancy special effects or grotesque monsters. You feel like you're being haunted, but you're never sure by what exactly, until it's too late.
Coming up next at number 4 is Jeepers Creepers. Just the title of this film is enough to drum up some fear in me, primarily because all I can hear is that old creepy song of the same name. You know, the one that plays ominously throughout the movie whenever the creeper is on the hunt. And by creeper, I mean the demonic beast in the movie, not the director. Moving on. If you know, you know. Every 23rd spring for 23 days, the creeper comes out of hibernation with a hunger for human body parts. Siblings Trish and Derry find this out the hard way when they witness a rusty pickup truck dumping what looks like a body wrapped in blood-stained sheets down a drainage pipe. Of course, after being run off the road by said truck, they decide to go check it out and discover an underground chamber with walls and ceilings covered in corpses. While the storytelling leaves room to be desired, this 2001 horror flick features some pretty unfiltered gore. We see numerous dead bodies, a leg being chewed off, a decapitated head getting its tongue bitten off, and so much more. Jeepers Creepers also delivers such a terrifying villain. The Creeper is a massive, muscular, winged demon with razor-sharp teeth. From his head, he can expand a wide fringe of webbed appendages, sort of like an insect or a dinosaur from Jurassic Park. Interestingly enough, the film is loosely based on a true story, which always makes it worse, and that's fact. Of course, there's no flesh-eating winged demon, but it is inspired by a man who murdered his wife. He was spotted dumping her body by a pair of siblings, and subsequently tailed them for miles. What makes this film so scary is that you cannot escape the ancient demon, giving you a sense of impending doom throughout the entire film. You will definitely need to pray before and after watching this flick, and hope that the creeper doesn't find any of your body parts particularly appealing.
Coming in at number 3, we have Silence of the Lambs. So this film from 1991 doesn't have any ghosts or demons or anything paranormal at all actually, but what it does have is arguably worse. It has not 1 but 2 depraved serial killers. One, a charming but cannibalistic doctor who likes to eat human liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. The other, a social pariah who murders women and uses their skin to make a woman's suit, both of which could be walking among you and I, and we'd never even know it. The story follows FBI rookie Clarice Starling, who seeks help from convicted serial killer Dr. Hannibal Lecter in solving a string of murders. The bodies of women are turning up, skinned and mutilated. In a game of psychological cat and mouse, the brilliant yet disturbed Hannibal Lecter guides Clarice towards the murderer in a series of cryptic clues. What makes this particular movie so unnerving is the sense of humanity that is brought to the most inhumane content. Dr. Hannibal Lecter is a villain, an extremely wicked one at that, yet you find yourself strangely rooting for him the entire time. He's charming, witty, and ready to disembowel you and string you up like Jesus at any moment. Its scare factor has stood the test of time, still being considered one of the scariest films to date. Silence of the Lambs was also the first horror movie to ever win Best Picture at the Oscars, and the third movie to ever sweep the Academy Awards in all of the top 5 categories.
Moving on to number 2, we have Poltergeist. It's safe to say that this 1982 horror film scared so many of us growing up and gave us an irrational fear of TV static, clowns, and our own bedroom closets. Directed by Tobe Hooper and produced by Steven Spielberg, Poltergeist is one of the most iconic supernatural horror films of all time, and is certainly a film you'll need to pray before watching. The film follows Stephen and Diane Freeland and their 3 children. They're your typical all-American family in their seemingly perfect suburban home, until it becomes an epicenter of paranormal activity. Their 5-year-old daughter Carol Ann begins conversing with something through the TV late at night. That is when the haunting begins. First, it's things moving on their own in the kitchen and around the house. Slowly, the haunting becomes more and more malicious, and Carol Ann is sucked into a portal from inside her closet. The Freelands learn that they're up against a horde of poltergeists being controlled by an entity called the Beast, and that their home was built on top of a cemetery. Set at the peak of the climax is one of the iconic scenes that many people cannot seem to scrub from their minds, when the son is attacked by the evil clown and pulled under the bed. So maybe by today's standards, or for those accustomed to today's limitless digital effects, this film may not be the scariest. However, in the 80s, it was considered terrifying, especially since the film itself is said to be cursed. 2 cast members died after filming, both of them were highly unexpected and sudden. Dominique Dunne played the older sister and suffered a violent death shortly after the film's release. She was strangled to death by her boyfriend. Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann, passed away at the age of 12, just years after the film's release. The actress who played the mom said in an interview that actual human skeletons were used as props for filming. This has never been confirmed nor denied, but could certainly drum up some bad karma on set, I'd say. Alright guys, we've made it to number 1 and we have The Exorcist. Get ready to pray, because in the number 1 spot is a film so disturbing that it had moviegoers throwing up, others fainting, and some even having heart attacks in theaters. Allegedly, that is. The Exorcist is the quintessential horror film and is considered the scariest movie of all time.
The 1973 supernatural horror film follows a little girl possessed by the demon Pazuzu, who begins acting erratically after making ill-advised contact with the supernatural. The situation turns dire when Reagan becomes increasingly more violent and disturbing, so her mother enlists priests to save her soul.
So many iconic scenes make The Exorcist an absolute nightmare. Reagan's head spinning around, her projectile vomiting green goo, and when she walks like a spider down the stairs, just to name a few. Her mutilated face is also incredibly haunting, being covered in deep cuts and scars. Perhaps the most disturbing fact comes from the sound design. Much of Reagan's grunting and groaning were made using pig squeals. When the demon is finally exorcised from her, the squeals we hear are pigs being led to their slaughter.
I didn't know
I didn't know this. I thought you did. I was gonna act surprised, but I thought you knew.
I'm surprised.
Ah, that's disgusting.
Yeah, yikes. The Exorcist was said to be cursed after a studio fire destroyed much of the set, and 9 people associated with the film's making passed away by the end of production. Priests were regularly called in to bless the cast, crew, and set.
To make matters worse, the film is based on a true story. The book in which the film was based on was inspired by the real-life exorcism of a young boy.
Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? What horror movie scares you the most? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 2.
But before you go, make sure you check out Sassy. It is down in the description. Come say hi and let me know that Top 5 sent you.
And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and until next time, I'll see you later.
Me too.